And so as Joe and I talked about that after, I said, Joe, it was a teaching moment because you assumed what the customer segment was. They've gone out and tested.
Welcome to the WealthBuilders Podcast. I am so grateful that you joined us, and today we are going to be talking about the business model canvas at a deeper level. How do you know when your business needs a change, and how do we use the business model canvas to get there? And I've got my good friend, Ray Patterson, joining me today. Ray, thanks for being on.
Well, thank you, Karen, for having me back. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, me too. I was telling him before we went on, like, hey, I'm going to learn. I always learn from Ray and all the guests, really. It's so fun. But Ray, hey, before we get started, we have got a free download to offer. Super. And this is great. This is one of Billy's newest booklets, and it's called Financial Breakthrough, Embracing God's Plan for Abundance. And you can get this download completely free. You can go to wealthbuilders.org/break-through, or just click on the link below and get a hold of this. You might have a friend that would enjoy it, but this really helps people to get started in growing their financial legacy. All right, so Ray, you are the coordinator for the Charis Business School. Yes. Amazing, and you have joined us, WealthBuilders, as a business coach. Mm-hmm. And Dave and I were chatting this morning and just talking about how amazing you are. And Frank was saying the same thing. So we're just so glad to have you as part of that WealthBuilders coaching family.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm excited to be part of the family. You and I have known each other for a number of years, and I easily recall back to the first time that I met you, and I thought, wow, if I am ever fortunate enough to work with Karen Conrad and the WealthBuilders team, I'm going to feel like I've made another plateau in my career, and here I am.
Oh, that is so kind, Ray. Thank you. Well, we're totally blessed to be connected with you, and
thank you.
We have a lot of fun working on business school, and then we just had the WealthBuilders conference. Amen. As we're filming. It was really phenomenal.
That was a great conference.
There was a
lot of good information there on all aspects, not just real estate, but business as well.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I really love the way that we build in and keep God at the center of all we do. He expects us to prosper.
Yes.
He wants us to be prosperous. And he gives us the tools.
He does.
If we apply ourselves.
Yes. There's that part where it doesn't fall on our head. Yes. What do we call it? Like ripe cherries off a tree.
Right.
There's a part that we play, and that's where combining, that biblical foundation and then these tools that we use, and the business model canvas is it's the tool or the foundation, really, of the business school. Would you say that?
It is. It's the foundational school. The BMGC, the Business Model Generation Canvas, is really the business model framework that all of our curriculum is developed around and the component parts of it. So we understand the BMGC. It lets you look at your business and understand and create a one-page business plan that really allows you to then codify all the component parts in one place, but then go deeper in each of those components so that you can connect the plan to the actual execution.
That's good.
And as you're executing, that's where you find, now we've launched with a particular set of products. We've got a customer base which we've connected with. We know the channels that we connect with them, and we know how we build the relationships for that initial set of products or services. that we're delivering, and then all of that drops to the revenue side. And on the left-hand side, as I call it, of the BMGC is where the operations happen. What are the things that we have to do from a production and delivery standpoint in order to deliver those products and services? And what are the resources we need for that? And who are the partners that we need that we don't own or control, but they're partners that we need? We have a great deal of influence over them.
Right.
And they have a key role they play. And that's all the cost side of the business. And so at the bottom, we're looking at the cost and the revenue. And if we have costs that are higher than revenue, we understand we have a hobby and not a business.
Not a business.
But if we can get that revenue above the cost, and there is a startup phase, the valley of death, we call it, where in the startup you are going to spend more than you get in revenue, which is why you need a good financial plan and action plan to be able to weather that storm and then get that business positive and growing. And then once we get that business up and growing and revenue exceeds expenses, now we've got a little breathing room.
Right.
But that's exactly when we need to continue to build. But that is also the time, Karen, when we're looking at what additional products or services can I bring to my current customer segment?
Yes.
And that's one of the ways we grow, so that we can bring in new products, new services. And the thing I think a lot of people miss is really intently listening to their customers. We get so focused on, this is what I want to provide for you, and you buy it, you enjoy it, you use the services. But if we're not careful, we get focused on us and what we deliver more so than how does it enrich the customer's life? How does it enrich their business? And what else do they need that is within our frame of reference, our sweet spot, if you will? And if we don't listen to the customer, we miss a lot of market opportunity. And even if we listen to the customer and they need something that we're not currently providing, then we have a choice. Does that fit within our business model?
Right.
Or do we look at developing a partnership with someone else so that we actually expand our value to the customer?
Good.
Satisfy that customer in a new way, and continue to listen to them.
Yeah.
So I think in this segment, I want to see if we can focus on how you expand your business to your existing customers, and a little bit about how you can even expand your customer base by looking at complementary products or services.
Yeah, I really like that, because with the business school, most of what we work on is with startups. And I've shared this story. Levi's always had business ideas. So I would say, because he went to business school, I'm like, put it in a BMGC, right? Because you start to think things through. And initially, it's an amazing tool. But then as you get going in it, that's the question. Like, how are things working? And kind of just unpacking, how do you use that BMGC continually as a business, that it's not just on the front end, one
Amen.
and done?
Yeah, that is really where you have to kind of keep coming back to the BMGC, because initially you've defined who your primary customer segment is, and that's a key word, who your primary initial customer segment. And you want to get laser focused on them to beginning to build market share. At the same time, you have to continually be aware, is there a different customer segment that I missed the first time around? Or once I get penetration in that initial customer segment, how do I look for the next customer segments so that I can expand either the service extension or what we'll cover in the next segment, how do I pivot my business because the customer is asking for something that I haven't necessarily done?
That's really good. And in that too, with the target market or the customer segment, a lot of times we go into that thinking that our customer segment is this customer segment. But what we actually learn is that that's not our customer segment. So one of the stories I share with that, I learned that the hard way in my home staging business. I thought my customer was the homeowner. So I worked that for a while only to find out that really the real estate agent is the one that was making that decision with them or for them. And the homeowner was really like just on the back end of that. So I had to shift my business model canvas customer segment to really be the real estate agents.
And that's where you find out I really may have missed my primary customer segment. And so I want to back up here and hit the fundamental. We fill out the value proposition first. And in that value proposition, we identify who our primary target customer is, we think. And so then we go do the demographics and the psychographics on those customer segments. And then we look at the channels, how do we get there? And how do we build the relationship? And I'm reminded of a couple of students from last year who had a business in cryptocurrency. And in teaching people about it. And so I was sitting with another colleague, Joe Keim, and Joe just came out with, well, your customer segment is got to be the 50 to 65-year-olds, the folks who have some resources to invest in customer segment. And the young ladies looked at him and they were just shaking their head no. And I thought, this is a teaching moment. And they said, no, our customer segment is the late 20s, early 30s, people gotten established in their careers, and they're the forward-thinking ones about a new currency. And so as Joe and I talked about that after, I said, Joe, it was a teaching moment because you assumed what the customer segment was. They've gone out and tested. And so that is an important part as you're looking at your product and service and you identify a customer segment, you want to go test to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. When you get there then is when you begin to intently listen to know what tweaks do I need to make in my products or services in order to really hit the target market. And then you may start out with a market that is relatively local, depending on your product or service. Well, then you want to look at, okay, who else needs this in other parts and how can we get to them? Is that travel to be on site? Is that a product that we can deliver? Is it something we can deliver over the web? All of these things are ways, and the key to me here is listening to the customer.
That's really
that will help us expand and grow our business both in width, breadth, by reaching more of those same customers across different localities, or in depth by listening to, oh, they need this service or this product, which is complementary to mine. Can I get into that business?
And all that we're talking about here too, this is if you have a business or you want to start one, you're trying to scale, this is exactly what we do in the business coaching. It's a year-long program, but there's lifetime benefits and access to many things. But we've got people trying to establish a business. We've got people that they've done really well with their business, but they've hit a cap, and we're trying to help them go to the next level. So if you are a business owner or want to start, or even a ministry as well, we help ministries, and you want coaching, I just want to tell you that our team of coaches are the best. Of course, you're hearing from Ray. I'm on the team as well. My husband, Dave, is on the team. And then we've got Frank Pulley, who is a wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely.
And so if you want to schedule something that sounds interesting to you, you can schedule a consultation by going to wealthbuilders.org. Click on coaching and find the business coaching to learn more about that. And so we get to sit on these calls and work with individuals and see their businesses flourish. And Ray, just listening to you, you're digging in, and this is exactly like you're coaching somebody as we go through this.
Absolutely. And that's what brings joy to my heart. I was built, God put me together to help other people achieve their dreams, and that's part of my dream.
Isn't that amazing?
And so it's, and I want to go back and kind of emphasize having things written down is extremely important, because it's only when it's written down can you come back and test it. Is it giving me the results I want? What else can I do? And I've got a documented place to understand not only product and service, but process and systems and how they work together. And we see those tied together through the BMGC. And that's where then we can do process improvement and quality programs on our own systems. That's where we can really measure the success, and we know what we're changing from and heading to.
So good.
And having that documented is critical. If it's all in my head, then
no one can help you.
no one else can help you. And so, it just goes back to Habakkuk 2:2. Write it down, make it plain so that whoever reads it, whoever you're working with, can understand it, and they can help you. And we were meant to work together, not in isolation.
That's really good. So as you look at going back into the BMGC and making adjustments, we talked about something that maybe products that customers are asking for and making a decision. Would another indicator be the financial statement if you haven't been able to? Yeah. So explain how that works. Maybe somebody is working on a business and they just can't quite get in the black. How would you use a BMGC to make some adjustments?
Well, you're going to use the BMGC by looking at your revenue streams and your cost structures associated with that revenue stream. And so you're going to then be looking for, am I really providing a service, and am I underpricing it because I don't really know what the market really calls for. And as Billy always tells us, you bring value to the marketplace, not time. Although you may end up billing out, if you're a consultant, based on some time structure. Although when I was doing the bulk of my consulting work, I went to firm fixed price so that people wouldn't be afraid to pick up the phone and call me. That turned out to be something that boosted my value in the marketplace.
That's good.
And so by looking at my cost and the value that I was bringing, I was actually able to elevate my pricing structure because of the additional value. And part of that value was they didn't have to worry when they gave me a call, am I turning the clock on? So things like that kind of analysis and understanding, maybe I'm delivering a product and it's a great product, but the packaging that I have it in doesn't show the same value.
Yes, that's a good one.
Well, then here I can change my packaging to show the value of the product, and that actually adds value that you're bringing to the marketplace. And a lot of times we'll look at our customer segment and think this is our primary customer segment. Middle income, maybe middle-aged for an example. Well, then what we're actually delivering is an extremely premium product. Well, then we've missed our real target market, which is the higher market with the higher disposable income. They're going to hang out in a different place than the middle market.
Right.
And if we make the tweaks, and by having it written down, we know how to make those adjustments.
So good.
And we might even establish a secondary product that actually fits the middle market better, but still maintain our high value product for the higher end market. And that may be our higher margin.
That's really good. You touched on something like with product packaging, and I was just remembering, like, I'm sure women out there are going to totally understand what I'm saying, but like skincare products that are in a container, and then you press the top to get the product out like this, but they always break, right? Or, how do you, so those are things, my point is, those are things that could be affecting your bottom line.
Absolutely.
And you may not know it. And so, Ray, how can someone kind of stay ahead of that? Like, what are some things people can do that can uncover if there is a problem like that happening?
Well, absolutely, Karen. It's the kind of thing there where, again, it's listening to the customer. It's following up with the customers. That's where you're building the relationship, and the relationship becomes the extremely important piece to that. And then by constantly questioning yourself, and that doesn't mean questioning yourself from a doubtful standpoint, but questioning, how can I improve my product and my service to my customers so that they are getting a higher value because they know we value them? And it's just like with our coaching program, where we stay in touch with those coaches. And even after they graduate the coaching program per se, they still connect with us, and they still are able to utilize us as a resource.
Yeah, and we built it that way on purpose so that people feel like, hey, once I get connected with you, you're not like you're done for the year and we never see them. We put networking in place, and we did all that from the beginning just to make sure that people felt like they had a family of like-minded people. That's really good. So we only have a couple minutes left here. This has been so helpful. I have a question for you. What kind of opportunities can we uncover? Sometimes it is more revenue, more value, but sometimes it's expenses.
Absolutely. And that's where we have to go back and look at our operations side of the BMGC. When you're looking at your key activities and your key resources, there's the prime place to look to see, am I doing the right things in the right way that is most efficient for our operations? Am I putting more steps into, whether it's a product or a service delivery? Am I putting expense in there that does not need to be?
Yeah.
So honing that down. Also, looking at your resources, how are you spending those? Are there alternative resources that are just as good of quality for your inputs? And one of the things that I did, just popped into my head, about cash flow.
Yes.
So we know how critical cash flow is to business. I made it a point in my consulting days, when I was really, as Billy says, running and gunning, that every customer that I had, I always met the people who received my invoices. I made it a point to develop a relationship with them. So that, they weren't responsible for actually paying. They received it, processed it, looked at it against the contract clauses, those kind of things. But I made it a point so that if they saw something on my invoice, they had a face to that invoice. And they had my phone number right there.
That's really good.
And I said, if you call me, I will respond immediately so that you can do your work efficiently, which was partly self-serving because the more efficient they did theirs, the sooner I got paid. Mm-hmm. And I always got paid well.
Wow.
And on time, just because I searched into the customer's processes and made my processes connect with theirs.
Oh, that's so good. Wow, this is such an interesting topic, and it's actually one of the most popular downloads on the Wealth Builders site. So I would encourage you, if you want to go in deeper on the BMGC, we've got Wealth Builders University, which you can go to wealthbuilders.org and click on that, and it'll take you to the WBU, we call it. And Billy's got teachings out there. Someone else is teaching. I might have a teaching out there actually on BMGC as well. But that really helps you to learn. Also, we've got over 1,000 free blogs that are available to you on our website. So if you go to the website, again, wealthbuilders.org, and then just put in the search BMGC or Business Model Canvas, you'll be able to find some blogs that provide even more information on this tool. And if you want to go to the next level in your business, or you want to start your business outright, I would really encourage you to think about the business coaching. Ray, I was going to remind people too, we've got the April real estate workshop that's coming up. Mm-hmm. And so that is an incredible workshop. It's 3 full days, and we've got limited seats available. So go to wealthbuilders.org and you can click on events to learn more. So with that, Ray, any final thoughts before we sign off here?
Well, my final thought is it doesn't matter whether you're in another kind of business or in the real estate business. You can benefit from having a business model canvas and laying out who are your customers, what's your value proposition, who are your customers, and how do you best serve them. So awesome. This tool is industry agnostic.
So good. Thank you so much. And remember, to get your free download, go to wealthbuilders.org/break-through, or just click on the link below. You're really going to be blessed by this latest booklet from Billy Epperhart. Thanks again, Wealth Builders family, for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Wealth Builders Podcast.